talk to me about what you consider to be the basic supplements most people should at least be considering. Most people want to perform better, have some good energy, do well in the gym, so on and so forth. What are the areas in which most people should be at least looking at supplementation, or are there any at all?
I mean, I think most people probably would benefit from magnesium. So you have to then decide on which ways to take it. I did a whole podcast on this because it is complicated, and you want to talk about the speed with which magnesium gets absorbed. Are you talking about organic, inorganic? Are you taking it more for performance and avoiding cramping? Are you taking it more for GI regularity? Are you taking it more for cognitive benefits? So all of those would be different forms. I actually take 3, maybe 4 different forms of magnesium. So I'm keeping track of both the total elemental magnesium I'm getting, but more importantly, the form I'm getting it in and how I'm kind of titrating each one to these benefits.
And what are you going for there?
Slow Mag is my favorite for, as its name suggests, slowly absorbing magnesium. So, minimizing any PVCs and cramping, basically, for a person like me who's very active, sweats a lot, live in Austin. Then I take magnesium oxide, which is kind of more the GI version of that. And then I take magnesium L-threonate, which is the cognitive part of that. So that's the one that gives you better cognitive absorption. I'm trying to think if I take a 4th one.
Okay, magnesium?
Yeah. Creatine, monohydrate.
At?
5 grams daily. I don't think it matters when you take it, truthfully, but the most predictable and routine time for me to take it is during a workout. So just mixing it in with electrolytes and water and drinking it.
Put it in with something else that you're already drinking.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'll forget to drink it. And taking 5 a day, you'll very quickly get to your saturation levels and you're totally fine.
Is there a size of human for whom, if you're 260 pounds, should that be a little bit more?
Yeah, it's possible.
And if you're a 120-pound woman, 110-pound woman, maybe, would you keep it at 5?
I mean, I do. And the only time I sort of tell people to dial it down is if they get GI upset from it, which some people do.
Okay. Magnesium? Creatine?
I think a lot of people probably could use a little bit of help with methylated B vitamins, maybe some TMG. Again,
what's TMG?
Trimethylglycerate, which is basically we would use these to titrate homocysteine levels. So if a person's homocysteine levels are elevated, you can basically get their homocysteine levels normalized with methyl B vitamins. Now, we don't really have, I'm trying to think, we have one study that speaks to the efficacy of that for brain health. But what we're doing is using a proxy, which is we know that homocysteine levels, when elevated, play a role in at least 2 diseases, right? Dementia and dementing diseases and cardiovascular disease. And so by, asking the question, if you lower homocysteine levels, do you address that? You're asking the question indirectly, is homocysteine causally related to those diseases or not? And looking at the neurodegenerative side, it appears more likely that it is. And there's a very clear mechanism for how homocysteine could be causally related in cardiovascular disease vis-a-vis its impact on endothelial function and endothelial health. But I would say that that's kind of a soft recommendation. I take Curcumin, basically a more liberated form of curcumin, so more bioavailable. I don't remember the dose. It might be 300 milligrams, but I'm not sure.
One of the things you haven't mentioned is omega-3s.
Oh, thank you. I do take that as well. I take Carlson's. I think there are a couple of brands out there, Nordic Naturals,
That's
Carlson's,
what I'm using
that are pretty good.
Do you know how many you're taking per day?
I take 3 of the most potent one that they make, which I think is called Elite or Supreme or something like that.
Are you timing that particular? Is it with a fatty meal?
Yeah, I mean, because my compliance is the most important thing. I have an AM and PM slide of things that I take. So I think I take 1 in the AM, 2 in the PM, or maybe it's the reverse. But the point is, I just know I used to take 2 and 2, but I've titrated it back a little bit. So I'm doing it based off what the EPA and DHA levels are in the red blood cell, in the membrane.
Yeah.
And I'm sort of trying to keep it between 10 and 12%.